Good evening, fighters. I'm Wolfpack,
I'm Shamaro.
I'm Pharaoh.
and welcome to a brand new episode of True North Fighters K9 Calamity, coming your way with some really big headlines. Let's jump right into the rapid punch ones. Let's get it going.
All right, guys. So the first of the two headlines that we have to look into is next Tuesday. We have Chameleon finally joining the cameo roster of MK1. And second headline, we have January 31st. BlazBlue is finally releasing its spin-off 2D platformer roguelike, BlazBlue Empathy Effect. So look forward to that. Anyway, we are just recording just off the heels of the Tekken World Tour Finals, which literally just wrapped up just like an hour or so ago before we started recording here. And oh my gods, this was a freaking mess, but it was epic all the same. So, Wolf, you and I have seen you and I both watched the build up to the grand finales. Unfortunately, I was not present for the grand finale because I called away at the last second. Yep. But I think you can agree with me that it was definitely like a really good send off for the Tekken 7 tournaments.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more on that. And I mean, this event has been going on all weekend long. Yesterday you had the last chance qualifiers as well as the group stages, and then of course today was the final bracket. Man, oh man, the bracket stacked up absolutely insane. The one to look out for was Arslan Ash of Pakistan. He was looking to become a Triple Crown champion after he came out first place in both EVO events, so here in North America and overseas in Japan. He was also the sole representative for Pakistan heading into the finals. Boy, oh boy, he did not disappoint. He took it 2-1 over Low-High in the semifinals, went on to the winners finals, took down Olsen 3-2, and then he received quite a bit of a challenge from CBM, who had to advance into the grand finals from the losers round. He went 2-1.
I know his journey throughout this entire finals of the tournament was crazy because like he was in the winners bracket at the winners semifinals. He got knocked down by, who was it again? It was Ulsan who knocked him down, right?
It was Ulsan that took him down. It was a 2-0 sweep in the semis that knocked him down into the losers bracket. And
then he clawed his way out of that of the losers bracket to eventually face Ulsan again in the losers finals, and he and Ulsan went just hog wild with their losers finals match, because like at first we thought 3PM was just going to sweep CBM. I thought he was going to sweep like the entire thing, and he did. He did like 6 matches, like he did 6 rounds straight.
Yeah.
And got 2 games off of Ulsan, but then Ulsan, he somehow just goes full determination mode, as Hungry Steve he put it, and
yep.
And Ulsan just came back swinging with six rounds of his own, and it was so back and forth. And then we get to the final game, they're like neck and neck, 2-2, and then CBM just manages to eke out the win against Ulsan, and then climbs back up to be in the grand finals, only to get knocked down Onapeg by Ash. So
that was it was wild.
It was absolutely crazy. But also we cannot forget that Ulsan also put on a pretty good show. He got through the first. Of course, he beat CBN the first time in the semis for the winners bracket, and then he went on. And he may have lost to Ash in the winners finals, but oh my gosh, their match with Ulsan's Kasumi and Ash's Kuromitsu, it was just art they put on just in that finals match.
Absolutely,
it was absolute art. Like honestly, like my heart was pumping through the entire match. I thought I was looking at like one of those movie moments where it's like it's the last match of the tournament, and I think everyone, like both the competitors, like really going at it, putting in their all. They're going back and forth, and it was just a beautiful sight to see.
That it was.
And I must say, the stages that got picked for that match were absolutely perfect.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, wall breaking was a really big thing in this tournament, and
Very big,
like
very
you,
big. Wall and floor breaking. Let's be honest. It was a huge part of this tournament.
oh indeed it was. And I mean, here's the thing: we saw it with Lohai, earlier on during the losers semifinals against CBM. He was going Brian Fury all the way, and there was one particular match where he just racked up a huge combo on CBM's Noctis just by wall breaking.
It
Just by
was
wall
absolutely
breaking.
nuts.
Like, holy smokes. And, like, that's, like, it's crazy enough if you manage to pull it off fighting, against a friend offline. It's another thing when you're doing it online, but then when you're on a stage as big as this and you pull that off, like, dude, that crowd was going freaking wild when they saw
Yeah.
that combo. That was unhinged Brian
It
Fury.
was.
Honestly, that
It
was just
definitely
nuts.
was. So yeah, though, like out of all the 8 contestants that we had to see there, like those three by far, I think I think we can all agree they put on the best show for us at the TWT 2023 World Finals.
Absolutely, and there were plenty of surprises too, like Olsen in the losers finals, he pulls out Bob to go up against CBM and Noctis.
But like I thought he was just gonna keep going with Kasumi, but no, that wasn't working for him. So last minute he pulls out Bob, and suddenly he's on a tear after that.
There you go. And you know what that kind of reminds me of? That reminds me of when you and I would go back and forth in T7. You always had such a crazy winning streak using Bob. So,
And oddly enough, I had a crazy winning streak with Kasumi sometimes too.
there you go. Exactly. So, yeah, just like you, I was fully expecting Olsen to go into the losers final and just dominate with Kazumi. Unfortunately, that didn't happen because he went down 2 games against CBM, so had to pull out
But he
good,
did not go
reliable
down quietly.
bomb.
He did not go down quietly at all. He fought to the very end, to the very last breath.
That he did. And I mean, can we just take a moment to, give some extra appreciation to our grand finalists, CBM and Arslan Ash? You are looking at two of the top players in the world. CBM is ranked third in the world and is the best Noctis player in the world as well. Meanwhile, you've got Arslan Ash. He is the top Tekken player in the world. You can thank both of his You can thank his victories at both Evos for that. And to see him go back and forth, well, he was mainly using Kunimitsu. I believe earlier on he did use Zafina once or twice. But yeah, just absolutely dominated as Kunimitsu. And I gotta tell you, I don't think you could have written a better send-off to what is undoubtedly one of the greatest Tekken games of all time.
For sure. And I gotta say, after seeing Ash just dominate with Kunimitsu, I think I might try maining her a little bit because, like, I didn't realize that she was that prominent a character. So, and she's a Ninja Rushdown, so I might give her a shot in the future. Because, like, even though T8's gonna come out soon, we're still gonna love T7, and we're gonna go back to it every so often to
hell yeah.
Just remember the good times. And of course, I'll still kick your butt at bowling.
Yes. You and I are far from being finished on that one. I can say that much.
Mm-hmm.
But
coming off, coming off of Ash's victory in the T7. So, Wolf, while you were busy keeping us apprised of the tournament, I was also busy. I caught unfortunately I missed the first 2 hours, but I caught just the second half of the reveals that they and the announcements they had made for the 2024 TWT lineup. So that thing is it's gonna be pretty crazy because the applications for that start in late March. So for those of you listening, if you want to get into this yourselves, that's the deadline you have to get. That's when they start asking for applications. So that's when you need to get your applications in, and then they start the madness. They start the whole tour over again. And coming April 13th.
There you go. So that is that is still a few months away, but I'll tell you this, time flies by pretty quickly. So make sure you all get your applications in as soon as you possibly can.
Yes, and even crazier, they were telling us a whole bunch of stuff. Aside from that, like it's not just the dates they gave us. They gave us like a whole bunch of other stuff that's going to be coming up in 2024
Oh,
with the TWT 2024 tour. And I am proud to say that has anyone ever heard of a little restaurant called Chipotle?
oh, hang on a minute. I think I see where this is going.
Yes. So Bandai Namco actually partnered with Chipotle for the T8 TWT 2024.
No way. Holy
They
smokes, what an
actually
announcement.
freaking got the Chipotle partnership. So, and apparently they're going to actually have a limited time special menu for the tournament.
Wow.
It is absolutely crazy. Like I have never granted we're just dipping our feet into the esports for fighting games for the first time, but I must say Chipotle of all things making a restaurant making a special menu specifically for a fighting game tournament. That's pretty wild, I must say.
That it is, and I mean it's not the first time that Chipotle has collaborated with a fighting game franchise. I believe it was roughly about a month after release. Capcom actually did a Street Fighter 6 collaboration with Chipotle in which you could get different cosmetic items for your avatars. So it's
Oh yeah, and that's not something with T8 either, because apparently they're also going to collab with they're honestly just collab. Like I can't even remember like all the companies that they're collabing with, but they're collabing with a ton of companies with a whole bunch of different merch. Like there's going to be I know that they got some limited edition stuff with disc plates, so if you want those cool metal canvases full of Tekken 8 goodness, they have a limited stock of 1,000 for like their really cool like Jin versus Kasama plate. But then they also got some more generic Tekken 8 stuff that you can buy in disc plate coming soon. And they've also got they've got a lot of clothing and avatar stuff going on. They've got some sports merch with Venom. They've got some UT stuff that's going to be like digitally available for free as avatar stuff, and you can even get physical shirts on for a small price.
nice.
And yeah, just a whole bunch of stuff coming down the T8 pipeline that we can look forward to as TWT 2024 kicks off.
That's crazy.
So,
And speaking of merchandise, did you happen to take a look during one of the breaks where Markman and Tasty Steve were showing off some Tekken figurines?
I saw that. They looked freaking pretty good, and they looked like they had a good amount of articulation. I definitely scanned like the QR code, so I'm definitely going to be taking advantage of that free shipping offer that they made.
Yes.
I'm definitely going to get something. I'm not sure if I'm going to get the figures themselves, but I'm definitely going to try to get something to add to my collection of nerds.
Yeah.
Memorabilia.
Yeah, because those action figures, they just looked absolutely incredible. I actually took a closer look at these things online during one of the breaks, and man, just the amount of work that was put into these things, it's just freaking marvelous.
It's absolutely crazy. So that's going to wrap it up for our tournament news right now. But listeners, please keep tuned, because we are definitely going to be on top of the Tekken 8 TWT 2024. Because as you guys know, we did say that we are going to launch our YouTube channel with the release of T8. So we are definitely going to keep on top of all the North American tournaments in the tour, and we are going to keep an eye on what goes on there. And of course, just a reminder for all you guys, the Street Fighter 6 Capcom Cup X, that starts up in February. So be sure to look out for us in mid-February, starting on February, what was it, Wolf? February 12th, I think?
I believe it was February 12th, yes. And this will be the tournament. Yep.
Yes, and so that's when everything kicks off. So look forward to that. We will be seeing that, and we will be giving you the highlights and our thoughts on what happened. So be sure to look forward to that.
Yep, and that'll be the big tournament where we will crown the first ever Street Fighter 6 World Champion. This is going to be an exciting one, that is for sure.
Indeed. So with that, we move on from tournament news to general game news. So, first off, the SF6 Spy Family Code White collaboration. We got a new trailer where we actually saw, I'm pretty sure, Wolf, would you agree with me that we saw basically a Yor skin for Jiri fighting Chun-Li in that exhibition match? I can't speak right now.
It's all good, buddy. Yeah, I would say you're pretty much hitting the nail on the head there. It did very much look like a skin of sorts that they used on Jiri, but from my understanding, I don't know if this is true or not, but from at least what I could see, I think that was specifically created just for the trailer.
I know it's unfortunate, but
yeah.
And I really wish we could have gotten actual skins for those guys, because I mean, sure, like the collab they did with the Ninja Turtles when the game first launched, sure, you obviously can't do really good skins on the characters for those guys, but Spy Family, you could actually do some really good skins with those guys. So I'm disappointed that we can't play as Yor or Lloyd Forger in the actual game. But we are going to be getting a whole bunch of Avatar stuff in the lobby that fans of the series can check out and get. And I'm super excited for this, honestly.
Yeah, everything just looks absolutely incredible. Items for your avatars, it's just incredible. And there's also a battle pass going on right now, specifically for that collaboration, where you will be able to obtain limited time music tracks that you can play in the jukebox whenever you want, specific titles that you can use on your Street Fighter 6 profile, just so much that awaits you in the battle pass, as well as all the cosmetic items in the avatar shop. It is going to be absolutely amazing. And you know what, if they were ever because this was definitely a missed opportunity to have like crossover skins and stuff like that. I'm kind of thinking, like, this is one of the funniest things that I was thinking about earlier, is what if they turned Blanka into Bond?
Oh my gosh, that would be perfect. That would be perfect. Like just putting a little bow tie on the Electric Typhoon, like that would have been absolutely incredible to see.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we didn't get. We can only dream, unfortunately. But maybe that's just a little sign to Capcom to maybe try harder and put a little more effort into the collaborations in the future.
This is very true, yes.
So, swerving back to T8 for a second, we got a lot of T8 to talk about.
Yes, we do.
In this episode. So, Bandai Namco just totally threw their trailer schedule out the window, and they decided to just go for 3 new trailers this past week. So in this past week, we got Panda, we got Alyssa, and we got Saphira.
Well, not only that, it's technically 4 though, because they also dropped the opening trailer for Tekken 8 as well.
There was also that, yes.
So technically it is 4, but yeah, we have a lot to unpack with these trailers, man.
Yes. Oh my god. So like we'll focus more on the gameplay characters or the gameplay character trailers, just because those are more integral to the actual game and its gameplay. But if you want to touch on the opening trailer, that's fine too. But let's just jump in really quick to Panda.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Lord.
Panda is like, if you thought she was adorable in T7, she is even more adorable in T8, especially with her rage drive. Oh my gosh, that was absolutely hilarious to watch her like spin her opponent around in like a spin dash, right out of Blanka's Street Fighter dash or Sonic spin dash or whatever or you want to call it, but some sort of spin dash, just rolling up, and then boom, hits you with the Chinese gong at the end. That was pretty hilarious. I'm not gonna lie. So I'm definitely gonna look forward to seeing Panda in matches.
Yeah.
Using the opponent to provide comedic relief, huh?
I guess so. Like Panda and Kuma, I like they're the bears. They're just the silly little bears that they like to enter the tournaments and have a good time.
True, but let's be fair though. Panda is also like Xiao Yu's bodyguard, so to speak, because like whenever you see Panda, Xiao Yu is almost always with her. So
That is true.
so she does play a bodyguard role for Xiao Yu, but yeah, Panda looks incredible in Tekken 8, and she is going to also be one of those characters that I am willing to experiment with. And as a matter of fact, I'm probably going to experiment with likely every single character in this game, because I don't really think there's a character that actually looks that bad in this game.
I mean, we're gonna have to experiment with everyone because that's gonna be the main topic for probably the first couple of YouTube videos that we're gonna do on the channel. So
Yeah, good point.
we kind of need to get into all of these characters and see what they're all about. Speaking of which, I know that you're probably gonna get really big into our next trailer spotlight on Alyssa. Oh my gosh, you just love to eat my ass with that chainsaw wielding cyborg.
Yes.
Android. Oh my gosh! Like, and if I thought she was bad in T7. Like, she is a freaking beast if that gameplay trailer for T8 has anything to go off of. I must say, though, I am loving her outfit a lot better in T8. It looks absolutely amazing. She honestly looks like a fairy to me in that outfit.
She, honestly, I don't disagree with you, and, like, given that she is still a somewhat relatively new character because she debuted in Tekken 6, like, already she's got a vast variety of outfits. It's absolutely incredible, and I'm gonna say this right now, her default in T8 is probably her best outfit yet.
For sure.
It is definitely her best.
And oh my gosh, like, I gotta say, her rage drive in T8, that was absolutely hilarious. Like, her head basically becoming a missile to finish off her opponent. That was freaking cool.
Yeah, and not only that, but like I personally find that was a better ending to her rage drive, or her rage art. Is it?
I'm getting the entire thing wrong, dude.
It's all right. I haven't played T7 in a while either, so I'm just trying to remember that now. But yeah, no, it was I think that was a better ending for her rage art in T8 than it was in T7, because like I do like the fact that she fires her chainsaw blades at you at the very end. But like this, it was just so much better in so many ways. It felt like we were seeing the lighter side of Alyssa Bosconovich. And
yeah, like in that finisher kind of felt more personal this time around.
Yeah, and I mean, can we also go back for a second to when they unveiled Alyssa's special intro with Jak 8? Oh
that
my
was
god,
absolutely amazing. and can we also mention how in the Alyssa trailer we got the fact that they had a stage on the moon.
See, that is
on the freaking moon.
That is hands down one of the coolest damn things that I've ever seen. Although I don't know if it's necessarily going to top the bizarre stages that we got in Tekken 7. Like, we had one inside a freaking volcano, for crying out loud.
And then, of course, there was that one that we saw in the tournaments where it was like, what was it, like a geometry thing?
Something like that, yeah. I think that was actually, if I remember correctly, I believe that was the training stage.
Yeah,
I actually think that was the training stage.
Yeah, that one was absolutely nuts. So I think the moon stage is just a continuation of this tradition of weird ass stages. And I gotta admit, I'm wondering this does not seem like a training stage. It seems like an end of game stage. So I'm wondering how they're going to tie the moon into the main story in the arcade mode or in the main storyline. That's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, it'll definitely be very interesting. Especially considering the fact that the story is now circling back to Jin and Kazuya, continuing their blood feud. So chances are that we might see it at some point in the story. I don't necessarily think it's going to be like an end game stage. Because if anything, I think it's probably going to be the Stormy stage that we got from the reveal trailer. for T8 where you had the lightning bolts in the sky, and I think there was maybe like a tornado or something in the background.
Possibly, but like, let's be honest. Like, how can you top a space like moon stage where you're like where you see the entirety of the Earth in the background? How can you really top that?
Yeah, you know what? Now that you bring that up, it's a very good point. Like it is, it is the definition of being out there. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get on to our last trailer for this past week, Zafina.
Holy smokes!
Oh my gosh, she is a zoner after my own heart, I must say.
I think she might be
she has some really long-reaching, just basic moves, and it was absolutely a treat to watch her to watch her move around the stage, and just kick ass. Like she was just awesome. And I must say, I think her outfit for T8 is also amazing.
It is absolutely beautiful, and again, she's in the same position as Alyssa is. She's still a relatively new character because, if I remember correctly, it was Tekken 6 she debuted in. And so, yeah, she's pretty much just gotten better since. And if your intro on Zafina is anything to go off of, if it's indicative of anything, I feel like she might be competing with Reina in terms of who your main's gonna be.
I don't think she really tops Reina, and I think Ryan again, is Kunimitsu in this game yet?
Kunimitsu, I believe she is. I'm gonna have to double check that.
Because if she is, like, she would be the one probably competing with Reina, honestly. But I will say, Zafina, she is definitely a contender for like third place. I'd say she is a really cool looking character, and I would like to try her out, but I wouldn't say she's like top tier for me yet.
There we go. Let's see. I've got one up here. Okay, so unfortunately, no, she is not part of the base roster.
That is unfortunate, but hopefully the seasons of DLC will see her in. Speaking of, let's move it over to the DLC season 1, because that's another thing that I saw during the Tekken Ball showcase. We have the first reveal of the first character of season 1 of the DLC.
Yes, Mr. Eddie Gordo is coming back.
Yes, oh my gosh, he's coming back with style. He's coming back with the serious dreads and the Brazilian outfit. He was breakdancing nonstop through his reveal trailer that I saw, and it was an absolute joy to see. So you guys can look forward to seeing him in the upcoming season pass.
Now here, if I may for a second here, I'm happy and I'm mad about this. I'm happy about it because Eddie is coming back. He is a fan favorite character. Like, his fan base is freaking huge. He's an absolute fan favorite. He's got a cult following. One of the most underestimated characters in the Tekken franchise. What I'm upset with is the fact that he didn't make the launch roster.
That is true. He seems like he has enough charisma to get into the main roster. And the fact that he didn't, and the fact that he got relegated to DLC is a bit sad.
Yeah, because it's like, given how popular he is and how much people like Eddie, why not have him in the launch roster instead of being a DLC character? I can make a couple comparisons to this. Like, for example, if you're looking to release a new Street Fighter game, this would pretty much be like releasing a new Street Fighter game where Guile, Zangief, and Blanka are not in the launch roster. Like, they have just such a big following, and they're so iconic, and they're fan favorites that it feels wrong, right?
Yeah,
so,
but then again, you also got to consider, all these series are, these series have a lot of games under the belt, and so they're going to evolve over time, and, there comes a time where you just kind of have to let the old timers, really just step aside and let the new blood stand out.
Yeah, that's completely fair. But But like looking at it through the eyes of like someone who has never played Tekken before, like they would be like, okay, that's pretty cool. But for someone who is experienced in Tekken, they would probably, be making that very argument. Like, why wasn't Eddie part of the launch roster? But at the same time, as you mentioned, there are points in time where, you gotta let the legacy characters take a back seat for a game or two, let some new blood come in. Like that was the deal with the Street Fighter 3 games. You didn't have as many legacy characters in there because Capcom wanted to introduce more new blood in there. So, like that would be a pretty good way to go about it.
Mishimas, they're never going to be relegated to DLC.
Well, let's be fair. Well, see, that's the thing too, because
the mainline Mishimas, like I'm talking like Jin and Kazuya.
True, but I mean, see, like that's where things get complicated because there's Heihachi. That's where things really get complicated because
okay, but he died at the end of T7 presumably for like the umpteenth time. So I think the fact that they might be saving him for some DLC if he's coming back, I think that's just the right way to go because like you're actually seriously asking the question like, is he gone? Is he gone? Then if they want to bring him back for like a surprise reveal and really get some shock value out of that, DLC is where you should bring him in.
And you know what? You just took the words right out of my mouth there.
Like that just makes from a marketing standpoint to me, that just makes the most sense.
Yep, I can absolutely agree with you there for sure. Oh, sorry about that, Pharaoh. Did you have something you wanted to add?
How many times has he been brought back now? What is it like?
Quite a few. Quite a few.
I mean, he's been thrown off a cliff like what, 2 times?
Twice, I think. Yeah, he managed to somehow engineer some sort of reverse aging serum for whatever reason.
And then there was that other fake out death where he got blown up by robots.
Yep, I believe that was a flashback in T7. I think that might have happened in, I want to say maybe like T4, perhaps. But yeah, like Heihachi's cheated death time and again.
Yeah. So yeah, he's definitely been dead and come back several times. But who knows when they might actually try to just like drop the other shoe and let him stay dead for good.
You never know.
Yep, exactly. Just never say never when it comes to stuff like this.
Might like this little tidbit of stuff I found for you.
Oh yeah?
Okay, so apparently for all the fans of Eddie, it's believed that his release as a DLC fighter should come maybe sometime this spring.
Okay.
Yep, this is true.
Additionally, I'm not going to be certain on this one, but along with Eddie, we have a possibility of another character making a long-awaited return.
Interesting.
Who might that be?
That would be Roger the Kangaroo may make his reappearance, I think.
Oh, no freaking way!
Roger, okay.
It's only a possibility. It's not confirmed yet.
But but the percentage of possibility is there.
Yeah. Originally, one of the leaks that has come out has claimed that the leak would be for the first 4 characters to be joining would be Eddie Gordo, Armor King, Roger,
okay,
and then a newcomer who goes by the name of Zhao Min.
Okay.
Interesting. So 3 returning characters and a brand new character.
This will be interesting to see how the first season pass of DLC goes.
Yeah.
Supposed.
Yeah. But still, like the fact that you were able to find those leaks, like that's pretty solid possibility right there.
For sure, and I mean it.
Yeah, I would. Oh.
No, it's all right. I was gonna say it only makes sense, for Armor King to come back because I mean you already have King in the launch roster, so like why not, right? But yeah, holy smokes! Like we'll just have to see how things go as the game progresses. As you mentioned, Eddie Gordo is going to be released sometime this spring, and then from there, we'll pretty much just have to keep an eye out on any sort of updates on the DLC.
Honestly, this is giving me flashbacks to the Smash Bros. Ultimate Season Pass.
You got, actually, yeah, I could see
I'm
that.
not gonna lie, it feels exactly the same, like the same trepidation of like who's going to be chosen to step in.
Yep, I could totally see it, absolutely, and You know what? I don't know if the reveals are going to garner the same amount of reactions or like the same volume of reactions compared to Smash Ultimate, but again, only time will tell. So, never say never.
Anyway, to bookend our news topics for this week's episode, Wolf, I believe you have some new info from being part of the test player pool for Diesel Legacy.
Yes, Diesel Legacy, the Brazen Age. Holy cow. To me personally, the hype is worth it. It is absolutely worth it. It pays off. The really interesting thing about this is that it's 2v2, but everyone is battling simultaneously. It's not like a game where you can swap out your characters and whatnot. All four characters are on the screen at the same time. So it is absolutely incredible. You've got your basic attacks. So from what I ended up seeing, you've got it's a 6-button layout. So of course mirroring the arcades. 4 of those 6 buttons are labeled with letters of the alphabet A, B, C, and D. A is your quick attack, which actually can connect twice. So you can pretty much get a mini combo out of there. So it's not too bad. B is your light attack, C is your medium, D is your heavy attack.
Okay. So instead of like the usual 3 intensity attacks, we have 4 intensities.
Pretty much, yeah. And on top of that, you've got your throws, which means pressing 2 buttons simultaneously along with the directional input. That's pretty standard nowadays in fighting games. You've got your special meter, which is classified as the meltdown meter, which is very, very interesting, because that's basically the meter you can utilize to pull off your supers. However, it functions different. It functions differently. I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Okay, gotta slow down. Okay, so
the meltdown meter. What does that? How do we use how is that different in its use?
It's different because you can only use level 1 and level 3 specials. That's it, and it only stores those meters after your teammate has been down.
Oh, so it's kind of like a balancing mechanic in that sense.
In a way, yes. So yeah, you've got that. You have there are a bunch of other moves here as well. You've got what's called a Jive Bomber. Very interesting name for this. So the Jive Bomber, if I remember here, this is actually, it's like an assist attack, pretty much. It's basically an assist, but it does cost some of your meltdown meter. So you gotta be very careful with how you utilize it. And then on top of that, there's even more to this. You've got something called the switcheroo, which you can utilize to save your teammate. This can only be activated when your teammate is being attacked, but at the same time, it does cost some of your meltdown meter. In addition, you've got 3 different ghost abilities. So the first one, so the first one is Ghost Guard, which saves your teammate from an attack just before they get hit. So you have to time it really well.
So this is definitely going to be a game of reflexes.
Oh, absolutely. It's nothing but reflexes. And so the next one is a directional and button input combination called Ghost Vengeance. And this allows you to assist your teammate after they've been downed, and you can basically utilize any one of your special moves. So there's that.
So anyone that goes down is not necessarily out of the fight.
Exactly. And then finally, you've got the Ghost Buster, which functions very similarly to Ghost Guard. The only difference is that this is when you save your teammate while they're being hit during a combo. So this only works if your teammate is being attacked in the middle of a combo string. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Thankfully, it's not, input-wise, it's not as flashy as the Ghost Vengeance. It's simply just a 2-button input. But, yeah, there is quite a bit to be excited about with this game. There's definitely going to be a little bit of a learning curve, as it was quite difficult for me to get the hang of these ghost abilities. But yeah, once you get them down, as you said, it's a game of reflexes, and you're gonna have to think really, really fast.
So would you say that there's definitely some potential for tournament play here?
Yes, absolutely. And one of the most interesting things about this is that there's 3 different lanes in the battlefield. And so by pretty much inputting up or down on either the D-pad or the joystick twice, you can actually move up and down between those lanes. So essentially that means you're moving more into the foreground or moving more into the background, but you're still fighting. So this will make for some rather unexpected and very surprising moments as players learn more about the game.
So that's depth change, as you may call it. Is that what the L2 buttons are for?
No, this is specifically for directional inputs.
Okay, so you mentioned that there was an A, B, C, and D buttons, but what are the other 2 buttons for? What do those connect to?
The other 2 buttons, those would be to unleash your specials.
Okay, so designated special buttons. Okay, that's good. Okay, so this is shaping up to be like a game of reflexes and fast inputs, but there is some accessibility in terms of getting the getting the specials off. So that's good. So it sounds like this game might not be beginner friendly per se, but it does have the learning curve is at least mitigated. In some regard. Yeah,
it's definitely not going to be easy to pick up and get the hang of the first time around, but practice makes perfect, as they say, and yeah, I can definitely tell you right now that people will be having a lot of fun with this once the game is fully out and available on Steam.
That's awesome. Well, we'll keep you guys apprised, and Wolf, you can tell us as they make new updates. Speaking of which, they did add 2 new characters, bringing up the total tally to 6 in the roster, didn't they?
Yes, they did. There are now 6 characters that you can play as opposed to the original 4. As opposed to the 4 that you had originally. Let me see if I can bring up their bios really quick. I'm just trying to make sure that I keep track on the time so that we can make sure we fit everything into this episode.
Yes, I actually, Wolf, I think just for time's sake, we might save the character bios for next episode. But don't worry, guys, we will give you that next time, and we'll go more in depth with their movesets and their backstories and just their overall feel.
Yeah, definitely a good idea.
Anyway, so moving on. So to our listeners, we decided that since we decided that we're trying to get episodes out every week, we're not going to have as much to talk about news-wise every week. So we decided, me and Wolf, that we're going to add in a new segment after the news columns. It's going to be our indie game spotlight, where we take lesser-known indie fighters and talk about them a little bit. And Wolf, when you brought this up, you had a specific game in mind with Wanba Warriors.
Yes, and I have you to thank for that, because you were the one that introduced this game to me. For those of you who are for those of you who are unfamiliar with it, well, crap, sorry. Sorry, you go first. I'll wait.
Okay, so and I of course have the YouTuber Cartoons to thank for his little playthrough video of this. I honestly would not have known that this game existed unless I had seen his videos on that. But yes, so unfortunately it was not a Mac game on Steam, so I unfortunately couldn't play it. But I showed the video to Wolf. He absolutely adored it, and he got the game for himself on Steam. So, Wolf, I think you can agree with me that this is basically a fighting game that may have originated from the Getting Over It with Benny Fighting game.
Yes,
Because
absolutely.
this controls so similarly to that. Like, basically, you have guys not necessarily in pots, thank goodness, but they are like little bobblehead type guys who basically use an assortment of weapons to just inch their way around the battlefield.
It is probably one of the most bizarre fighting games that I have ever seen in my entire life, but it is also one of the funniest and probably one of the coolest fighting games I've ever seen, because it operates a lot like Getting Over It, but it's weapons based. So
Yeah,
you're not
and let's
holding
be honest,
like a hammer or anything. You're holding like, could be a scythe, could be maybe a staff or
crossbow,
something.
a staff, like
Crossbow,
what have
yeah.
you. There are so many weapon variants that they have in this game. And honestly, I think the limitations that they put on you with the movement, like the fact that you actually can only get around with moving 11, is absolutely genius, because that opens the door for so much depth and strategy. Like in the Toons video that we saw, like there were so many times where they were popping off like these near misses and like super well timed hits. That's with their weapons and their specials, and it was just a sight to behold.
That it was, and it provided us with a lot of really hilarious moments to laugh at. So definitely a game worth playing. I haven't dedicated too many hours into this yet. But definitely we are going to hopefully get a video or two done on playing Wamba Warriors. If you guys have not played it yet, be sure to check it out on Steam. Unfortunately, again, as mentioned before, it is only for PC users, not for Mac users. So yeah, hopefully there will be something that comes along in the near future that grants access for Mac players, because I mean, this game is so much fun, and I really hate the fact that my good friend here is missing out on something so freaking
Honestly,
spectacular.
I would take a Switch port at this point. I think it could be utilized just fine with the Switch, and if it gets a Switch port, I will absolutely take that on.
Hey, a Switch port could work too, actually. Could definitely work.
All it really needs is like one or two buttons for like the activation of the specials and the weapons, and then you just need the joystick for movement. Like that's all you would ever need.
There you go. Exactly. Everything you need for a good Switch port of Wamba Warriors. So definitely we'll have a couple of videos on that once we get around to it. And hope you guys are ready for some hilarity to ensue, because there will be hilarity.
There definitely will.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me see here. Speaking of Wamba Warriors.
Oh yeah.
So if our viewers would like to get the game, they don't need a too graphic intensive computer. So if you have like an older PC, it's not all that graphically intensive. You don't really need all that strong of a processor, so it shouldn't, or even a graphics card that much. Honestly, it's pretty easy. It should easily run on most computers.
Yep. I mean, like mine's not even like a gaming laptop. Like it's just a regular laptop for regular usage, and it actually runs really well on here.
Yeah, and also very accessible just as far as price. Like, I mean, the base game is only like what, $20 you paid for it, Wolf?
Something like that. Yeah, I believe. If you get the bundle that has all the DLC with it, it's pretty much just a. It's just a.
Let's be honest, like that roster was huge.
It was. I initially, when we watched Toons playing, I didn't even realize that all those other characters were DLC characters. I didn't realize that. But yeah, if you get the bundle that has all the DLC with it, it's only a few bucks more, so it's not necessarily that bad in terms of price range.
Nice. Well, there you go. It's good as far as the money concerns and tech concerns. Thank you, Pharaoh, for that spec analysis. We might call on you in the future for more of those. Anyway, so I think that's all we have to really say about Wombo Warriors for now. We will definitely get you guys videos on that in the near future. Moving on, so we have our next discussion topic. We are running low on our original list of discussion topics, Wolf and Pharaoh.
Yep.
But I think this one is definitely going to be a fun one for us. So I must ask the question to you guys: what's a crazy mechanic that you would love to see in a fighting game? And it could be any fighting game. It could be a currently existing fighting game, or it could be one that we haven't seen yet.
Oh boy, it is a very, very tough question. Very tough.
I mean, like last week we were talking about like different ways to collect meter, but let's try to branch out a little bit into some other stuff. Like Wolf, what would you say would be an element of fighting games that you would love to see either change, alter, or add to?
I would want to say I would probably want to say maybe have a better counter system, perhaps, because there are some counter systems where it just consumes like a lot of your meter or consumes the entire meter. So I would probably want to say that maybe a way to improve a counterattack or a combo breaker system, so to speak. I would probably improve it by maybe if you take more damage, it doesn't consume as much meter.
That is a thing, and definitely something for game devs to possibly improve on. But Wolf, the question was, what's a crazy mechanic would you like to see? What's a super out there mechanic you would like to see in a fighting game?
Well, okay, so let's take this idea and we'll amplify it by saying that oh boy. Okay, never mind. That just went completely out the window. Oh man, this is probably one of the toughest discussion topics we've had so far. Oh man.
Okay, maybe while Wolf thinks on his, Pharaoh, do you have your crazy mechanic that you would like to see in a fighting game?
I do.
Excellent.
The one now, I'm jumping into the RPG section here, but pulling something out of there, maybe you could have an elemental strength and resistance situation. Really
so basically, you want to throw Pokemon rules into a fighting
game?
No.
I'm talking more of I'm thinking more of Shin Megami Tensei, if I'm going to be totally honest with you.
Okay.
But it kind of adds like an extra flair, so like maybe sometimes your attacks against somebody who has some reconnaissance with some element or whatever, like let's say it be fire or something. Taking on an opponent whose element is ice, they're naturally going to do more damage. But there are ways you can jam it up or whatever.
Okay, so it's a bit of an unbalanced element system, but there are ways to circumvent the advantage. Okay.
Mind you, this is the RPG section of me talking, and that's usually the one that gets stuck out quite a bit for him.
Right. No problems. We love to see it.
We know that's my expertise area.
Oh yeah, of course, and we love to see that side of the underworld from you there, Pharaoh. Okay, so Wolf, any new thoughts on yours?
Yep, I think I got one. So I would say a really crazy mechanic that I would love to see is maybe equipping stuff to your characters that have unique limitations to further challenge yourself in combat. So
so basically like challenge items essentially.
Pretty much, yeah. So for example, maybe you equip something that forces you to only use special moves, or maybe something that maybe there's something you equip that lowers your attack strength, or maybe slows you down, something like that. There's a lot of potential for it. I don't really know if there's any sort of game that's done it before, but
I mean, not necessarily in fighting games, but that is an element that you see a lot of in roguelikes. So bringing that into a fighting game, I think that would be an interesting concept.
Yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool too. That one just it came to the top. It came to the front of my mind while Pharaoh was explaining his, and I was like, you know what? That actually sounds pretty freaking good. So I think that would be my crazy mechanic, is equipping challenge items that put on, like, that basically handicap you, and you have to try and win the match with those handicaps.
Cool.
Interesting.
So now at this point, what about you? What would be the crazy mechanic that you would like to see?
Thank you for asking. So, going back to Tunes for a second here. So I started following a bunch of his videos because he does cover fighting games every so often. And there was this one arena fighter that he found that was like a fun, like, stick fighter party game that was in like a 3D space. And basically, like, you had a bunch of rounds. Like, the first guy to win 10 rounds won. I forget what the name of the game was off the top of my head, but it looked really fun. So we're definitely going to play that at some point in the future. But there was this, and each round you go through a different stage, and there was one stage where basically the arena kept shrinking constantly until there was one guy left standing. So now, obviously, like, that's easy to do in an arena fighter, and in Smash Bros. They have other stuff like that, like maybe the Metroid levels. But I'm thinking, what if you tried doing that for a 2D fighter?
Huh, interesting.
Like, because, like, there are so many times that I see where, like, players are doing their footsie plays, and they're either trying to get distance, or they're trying to just, like, stay and play the neutral game, like, extendedly. But what if what if you had the usual timer that you have to keep the matches? What if when that timer ran out, the walls began to close in on you?
Oh, that actually sounds really cool.
I think there's a lot of potential for this mechanic, because, like, you can have walls that, like, are just regular walls that will squish you and, like, might result in a double KO, or you could have walls with spikes on them, or some other sort of hazard that causes you to, like, evade the walls to kind of push your opponent into the walls, and whoever can just stay alive the longest can win. Or, of course, you could also just with other stages, you could just, like, forego the walls and maybe go for the floor is lava or something. I think there's a lot of potential for not they're not necessarily stage hazards in the traditional sense, but they definitely be like a way to basically wrap things up a lot quicker if the players were being a tad too let's say I don't want to say cowardly, but timid. Let's say timid.
Yeah, you know what? I think it's a really great idea. Again, there's a lot that can be done with it, and, like, I honestly, that just spices up the gameplay that much more. I think it is probably the most unique idea that each of us have provided. So yeah, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if something like that were to make its way into a fighting game. I think it would definitely make things much more challenging, but at the same time, it would make things a lot more fun too.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, let's. I guess that means we have to move on now to our last segment of the CNF episode, which is, of course, our dream rosters. So, Wolf, do you want to start? Actually, no, Pharaoh, do you want to start us off with this one? What your I believe your pick was.
Yeah.
I believe you had some sort of inspiration from the Persona 4 Arena Fighter that inspired you for this one.
Yes. Additionally, there is one other thing about the crazy mechanic, but we'll bring that up after this.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I understand that Persona 4, like, I think it's Arena, which is a combination of three, the roster of your team of the C's investigation team, and then the Inaba team from 4. But what if they ended up adding 5 to that roster? I understand 3 and 4 together, but why not 5? There's a lot of infinite possibilities.
There you go.
Especially considering Joker, who's in Persona 5, has already been featured in Smash Brothers.
This is true. This is very true.
It is really fun to play with.
Mm-hmm.
Not my main, but that's besides the point.
Yeah, it sounds like from the sounds of it, it kind of sounds like a Persona All-Stars kind of scenario.
Something like that.
which I think is extremely unique because already we've seen like what other sort of all-star games have done, but like Persona, it's just so out there. No one would ever really expect Persona to kind of have an all-stars sort of game outside of like what Atlas did with Persona 4. So yeah, like I think that'd be absolutely amazing. And if anything, like if you ever met a Persona fan who also loves fighting games, I feel like that would be a dream come true for anyone who is like that.
It definitely would be, but I think the way to really spice this idea up, like because like I think Pharaoh's idea here is actually probably the one of the three of us for this episode that actually has the most chance of actually going to pass. So
This is true.
but I would say like if you wanted to really get like the full All Stars experience, I think it might be best to wait until they come out with a P6. I think if they have like a good roster between 4 different games, I think that would be the ultimate All Stars experience for the Persona franchise.
To be fair, it's like, what is it? Well, obviously 6 isn't out yet, and they've milked 3 for content for so many years. Number 4 is almost in the same boat as number 3, and number 5 is maybe 4 games.
Yeah, I would say
True.
roughly
And
about
then
3 or
there's
4 games. Yeah.
5X, which is in China right now. It's kind of, sort of an abridged, at least what I've seen of it, it seems to be pretty cool, but I don't know if they'll ever port it over here into North America.
True, but
Interesting.
like Atlas obviously has to keep this franchise going because it's a beloved franchise, and I think there's still more potential for what they're doing in their formula. So I think a P6 is definitely a strong possibility in the future. And I think once that comes out, then they would have enough to work with to really bring an All Stars fighting game into a fruition.
Yeah, I could totally agree with that. Okay, so my idea, now this is mine probably has the lowest chance of it happening. But I would say a fighting game inspired by God Eater.
Ooh.
Now God Eater, so here's here's the thing. I haven't played God Eater in ages. I'm just now getting back into it. But it's in a post-apocalyptic setting, where the Earth is pretty much just like destroyed in the sense that it's barren. And basically you have these warriors with gigantic freaking weapons fighting off mutant monsters called Aragami. And personally, I feel like in terms of the playstyle, I feel like it would be weapons based like Soul Calibur, but I would probably want to say maybe make it I don't want to go down like the 2D route like Street Fighter, but at the same time like maybe not the platformer style like Smash Bros. I know I mentioned that one in the last one that I did. But yeah, like I know for a fact it would definitely be weapons based. Plenty.
It kind of sounds like I think you lean towards more of an arena fighter, like Soul Calibur was.
Yeah, maybe more of an arena fighter is probably what I'm going for with this one. And in terms of like the Aragami, I would probably say like maybe, you know what, they would probably fit in pretty well for like mid-ladder fights. I want to say like you could probably make them kind of like a sub-boss, perhaps. Or actually, no, a mini boss is probably a better way to put it.
How would that work though? Because aren't they kind of like kaiju sized?
This is, yeah, they are. It would pretty much be just a matter of picking which species of Aragami to use for those, because they basically
you've played God Eater more than the rest of us. So like, does God Eater have like smaller enemies that could be used as mid bosses?
Yes, I was actually just about to say that Aragami come in all shapes, sizes, and forms. So it would really just come down to figuring out which Aragami would be perfect for, mini boss fights, minor boss fights, sub bosses, final boss, and so on and so forth. And not only that, but character wise, there's been a lot of characters introduced over I want to say there's been about 4 different games, and there's been quite a lot of characters introduced in all those games, and keeping with the tradition of God Eater when it comes to characters, you could also have your very own playable custom character. So in a sense, it would also kind of be like Soul Calibur in a way.
So it kind of be like Soul Calibur meets Jump Force, essentially.
Pretty much, yeah. I think that's likely the closest comparison I would make.
Cool.
Sounds like a sort of a mixture of a fighter with hack and slash. This is what I think. At least that's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, you hit the nail right on the head there. Because God Eater, it's basically a hack and slash RPG. So still have your leveling up techniques and stuff like that. You've got your customization, but it also operates in ways that are somewhat reminiscent of like God of War and Devil May Cry. So, yeah, pretty much fighting meets hack and slash meets RPG, basically.
Cool.
That actually does remind me of one game that already exists. It came out a long, long while ago.
Which one?
I'm thinking of Ninja Gaiden.
Ninja Gaiden. There we go.
That would be a pretty that would be a pretty solid comparison.
Sure, it came out in 1988, but I'd say it still holds, even though it's been almost, 35 years since that game came out?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say despite its age, I think it still holds up pretty well.
Yeah, I can agree on that one. I would definitely say at this point we can probably start wrapping it up. So Adam, Shamaro, see a fourth wall.
Don't worry, we can edit it out.
Yeah, don't worry.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, don't worry. I'll leave that to you, Wolf. Yeah. So for my dream roster, I'm actually going to kind of not really cheat, but I'm kind of going to take a page from Pharaoh's thing and be more of an add-on to an existing game. So Dragon Ball FighterZ, I think it could actually do it's one of Bandai Namco's bigger fighting game franchises, like next to Tekken and such. And I think they could benefit from a collab. And I think a good collab that they could do is with another franchise that got a Title Z anime. And you guys might not believe this, but did you know that the Powerpuff Girls actually got themselves an anime back in the day?
No
Just
way.
Like the original cartoon that came out in the 90s.
Yes, but they got an anime. But they got an anime adaptation called The Powerpuff Girls Z.
Oh.
Now, I did watch a couple episodes in preparation for this podcast, and I must say, the storyline isn't deep at all. Like, they didn't really do that much to make it any smarter of a show. It's honestly kind of got a little bit duller with the Monster of the Week formula, but it's still funny, in like a dumbed down sort of way. And I must say, like it's definitely got that Mega Man NT Warrior energy mixed with Dragon Ball Z and Sailor Moon. But I must say, I think based on the character designs and the cool abilities that they actually pulled out for the characters, I think this could be a really good collab to add as guest characters to Dragon Ball FighterZ. I think Blossom would be great with her yo-yo attacks. Like, she could be a good zoner. You got Bubbles, she could be more of a cleric character with providing heals to your team. And of course, Buttercup, the hammer wielding badass that she is, she could honestly, I think she could honestly give some of the heavy hitters like Brawly a run for their money.
Not bad at all. Honestly, I never would have thought that I would ever see the day where something like that would come up. That is unreal in like the best way possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so for me, that would be my dream roster. Is just like a guest addition from the Powerpuff Girls Z characters to Dragon Ball FighterZ.
That is just crazy. Like, if you...
It's pretty solid, yeah.
It definitely is solid. It's a bizarre idea, but I think it is one that could absolutely work. yeah, there's a lot that you could do with this. There's definitely a lot. But yeah, I definitely think it's a really good idea. Um, yeah, I guess that's all I got to say about that. Well, I think at this point that pretty much brings us to the end of this one.
Yes, this was definitely a packed episode, and
Whew.
while the continuing episodes every week hopefully probably won't be as highly packed with news and discussion topics, it will certainly be an easier time being with shorter episodes. So you guys listening, you won't have to hear us drone on for like a full hour and a half. So look forward to some more bite-sized bits of news and discussions.
Yes.
So we look forward to bringing these to you more consistently as 2024 goes on. And of course, we will do our best to try to get that weekly schedule into our YouTube videos if we can.
Yeah, because the last thing we want is to, have us wind up losing your attention. So hopefully we can do a better job at that. I might actually be partially to blame for that because sometimes I can't really string my words together and just goes right out the window. But
yeah, but dude, that's more of a post-edit thing to worry about. Like I think the real problem we were having back then was that we kept doing like every 2 weeks, and like so much stuff built up in those 2 weeks, so we had to talk about all of it in each episode. So I think it's just the scheduling that was the real culprit here. So
yeah, that's fair.
I think there's equal blame to go around, but mainly with our scheduling. But yeah, hopefully that should be remedied with this new scheduling. We should be broadcasting, and yes, we are doing this over Discord with this recording. So we should hopefully get some live recordings in at some point. But I think for the time being, you expect us all to like tune in via Discord. But hopefully that won't be too much of a problem for you guys listening. If so, please comment and let us know, and we will do our best to improve on what we're doing right now.
Yep, it only goes up from here, everybody.
I think we'd like to do some live episodes for you. We just got to figure out how all that's going to work.
Exactly.
Yeah, because all our schedules are, in some degree, conflict with each other.
Yeah, it's true. I'm dealing with my part-time jobs. Wolf, you're doing your own thing, and Pharaoh, you're currently back in college.
Yep.
And becoming and slowly training yourself to become our law consultant, essentially.
Legal consultant.
Yes.
To an extent, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, so look forward to that, guys. And of course, we will keep you apprised of the TWT 2024 stuff as it comes out in the coming months. And of course, February, we're going to be covering the Capcom Cup X with the Street Fighter 6 World Tournament. So look forward to that. And of course, as always, thank you to our sources, the official sources from Bandai Namco, from the guys, from the developers on Steam, from everyone who we have talked about today. Thank you so much for keeping us apprised of what you're doing, and of course, thank you also to FightersGeneration.com for giving us those little bite-sized articles to keep us apprised of what's going on in the AAA landscape.
Yep. Thank you to all the devs for all the information that you guys put up, because if not for you guys, honestly, we wouldn't be here right now.
We'd be in the dark, honestly.
Exactly.
So thank you guys for keeping the lights on and for allowing us to still give our 2 cents on these topics. Anyway, we've drawn long enough. So from all of us here at KINC, this has been True North Fighters, second episode of season 1. Let's go. But yeah, stay safe. And we will see you guys next week. I'm Shamaro.
I'm Wolfpack.
I'm Pharaoh.
And we will see you guys all in the next broadcast of TNF.
Yep. Stay warm. Fight on. Take care, everybody. We'll see you guys next time.